Oi, this is the Profanity Gnome, and I'm here to tell you that if you're under 13 years old, fuck off this video! Get the fuck off YouTube! Get your mama to get your dad's cock out of her ears and actually be a parent! This is for adults only! And for everybody else, enjoy the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below what you think, you fuck buckets. To stand out among the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud, till mine is the only face that you see. Gonna stand out till you notice me. I know it's rather small and petty compared to everything that just happened, but they ruined my suit. I mean, look at the size of this hole. This is going to be more than a little patch job. I don't have to worry about these things because I don't wear clothes. But it does confirm at least one thing. You don't have this many guards unless you have something worth protecting. What the heck? What kind of treasure hoard is this? No gold, no rubies, no nothing. It actually makes sense. It's the protection of the one thing that higher powers doesn't want the general public to have. Higher knowledge. Hey look, I found a stick. A stick on a pedestal in the middle of the room with light shining on it. Is the stick somehow important? Don't know. Looks like just a regular stick. If you ask me, it might just be maybe a stick from the Tree of Life or perhaps the Tree of Knowledge. Hell if I know. Can I have it? Sure, go nuts. Wait, if that stick is as important as you say it is it a best idea to give it a gent? Well, on one hand, I can see how possible consequences can come from this, but on the other hand, it will royally piss off my dad. Fuck you, bitch. This is the spear of Selene. The episode begins with the Duck family flying in a terrible thunderstorm. Donald is safely prepared, but everybody else, maybe not so much. Especially since Dewey and Webby seem to have their own agendas and are sabotaging the plane mid-flight. Launchpad tries to figure out what's going on, but it's too late. They end up crash landing on a mysterious island. And then the storm magically clears up somehow. And upon further investigation, they discover that they've landed on the island of Epiquac, where Greek gods reside. Scrooge and Donald, however, don't seem to be too excited about being on Epiquac and need to leave as soon as possible. But Launchpad says they're grounded, so the kids decide to go exploring. But Dewey and Webby reveal that their ulterior motives was to visit the island of Epiquac so they can discover more information on the Spear of Selene, the legendary spear that is connected to Dewey's mother. As for the rest of the kids, well, Donald is busy rounding them up, saying that they have to leave the island ASAP. But before they could ask why, Donald is immediately ambushed by Storkules, the long-standing Greek hero of legend, the world's strongest god, or demigod, and apparently Donald's best friend. Yep. Turns out, the Duck family know the Greek gods. And Storkules is such a delightful little dork, and he's just so happy and gushous. He's only been on the screen for like less than a minute, and he's already my new favorite character. Not only with his heroic attitude, but his weird obsession with being besties with Donald. Like, I know this is taking the joke out of it, but he is seriously putting Donald on a very high pedestal. Okay, I'm just going to choose to see this as a normal platonic friendship, and no one can change my mind. Oh, can't they, Alan? Well, just remember, Storkules is Greek. Can you feel the love tonight? Well, Scrooge attempts to hurry everybody along, but then the big boy shows up. Zeus, king and father of the gods, and he adamantly hates the Duck family. I can't wait to figure out what the hell Scrooge did to piss off Zeus so badly. But we have to cut to Dewey and Webby for a sec, as we try to discover the mysteries of Della Duck and the Spear of Selene. And on their adventure, Webby makes a comment about maybe, just maybe, Della may have done something to piss off the gods. But it seems that Dewey doesn't appreciate this theory, but as viewers, we do have evidence to support this theory. For we cut back to the gods and the duck family, as Zeus recounts the tale of how his life got destroyed by the ducks. Apparently, he used to be the party god, the ghoul god on the block, and everybody worshipped him. But then Scrooge came to his island with his family, and they outshined him in every contest and every event that he could possibly think of. And thus, people began to dislike Zeus over Scrooge. And also out of sheer frustration, he rained lightning down on everybody. And this is how Donald and Storkules met, apparently. But when Storkules starts pressuring Donald for information about Della, well, he's unwilling to say, but the actions speak louder than words. And so, but Storkules proposes that Zeus welcome their friends back, trying to defuse the tension with a party. After all, Zeus isn't just the god of lightning, he's also the god of hospitality. And what kind of god shuns their friends? So he throws together a half-assed party that it's clear no one's enjoying. Except for Storkules, because he's just a muffin top. But Scrooge makes literally one bad comment, and not even that bad, and Zeus flips his shit, acting less like a deity and more like a petulant child. So a deity! I see what you did there. And when Storkules tries to defuse again with some party games, Zeus says, yes, we shall have games, a tournament even, and we will prove who is the better family. But when the ducks are completely uninterested and try to leave, Zeus forces their hand by trapping them in a cage of lightning. So, too bad, so sad, you're playing. Cosmic kilts! What is the big idea of dragging me out of that fight and leaving everybody down there? They could have got the treasure themselves! But Queen, we just didn't want to lose you. We have to protect you at all costs. But if you insist on going back down there, at least bring protection of our Super Saiyan, please. Sup, my queen?
I'm going to try to get that mental image out of my head. But you do not interfere with an adventurer while they're adventuring. Do you understand?
A moment of your time.
And who's coming here now? It's you. Well, we cut to Dewey and Webby in the Temple of the Gods, going through all the tricks and traps of the gods in order to try to get more answers on the spear, whether it was to Dewey's detriment or not. They actually find a few things of Selene, but not entirely correct, so they have to continue searching. But then we cut to the games, where the first test is a race, where Storkules takes on Louie and Huey and Donald in a game of first one to the bag of wins. Clearly, this was heavily in favor for Storkules, but with clear ingenuity and intelligence, they managed to win the day. But Zeus isn't done yet. We cut to Webby and Dewey again, fighting a giant sea monster, trying to get for the Spear of Selene. But when they realize that the sea monster is actually protecting the Spear of Triton, well, he just immediately lets him go and just says, hey, the Spear of Selene is over there. Just don't take the Triton. Okay? Okay. Bye-bye. What a nice guy. We then get a quick montage of all the other trials and tests that Zeus is trying to make them all do, in a desperate attempt in order to beat the Ducks. But every single challenge, the Ducks either complete with minimal difficulty, or Storkules ends up goofing up. Regardless of the situation, Zeus just can't beat the Ducks, and he keeps the trials going at all costs.
Party people, time to do this beach party like the gents!
Which then cuts to the last trial. And what is Zeus's final game? Trying to take the golden sheep's wool from a child. And while most of the other ducks don't seem to be too bothered by the concept, Storkules seems to be having a bit of a mental breakdown, because in his mind, he's a hero. Heroes don't steal from children. Oh my god, this guy is too pure for this world. Literally, this world. Send him to My Little Pony. He'd probably be much happier. Speaking of happy, Donald is through playing the games. Storkules tries to comfort him, trying to say, "It's in our blood, we're heroes, we're adventurers." But Donald and him have a bit of a falling out, Donald saying that he's not an adventurer anymore, it's too dangerous, and he doesn't want to be a part of it. Clearly still traumatized by Della. Poor Donald. But thanks to the sea monster's directions, Dewey and Webby finally manage to make their way to the Temple of Selene. And after opening the door, Webby wants to dive headfirst into the mysteries. All their secrets could lie behind that door. But Dewey, of all people, is actually fighting her on this. He doesn't want to know. So now we got the Dewey-Webby standoff. Meanwhile, Storkules is still pondering the questions of his life, while Louie is just going to go over there and take the sheep's wool. But then, creepy girl starts singing. Scrooge manages to get the boys and himself with ears covered, but Storkules isn't so lucky. Apparently, this little girl is a siren, and this whole thing was a trap, forcing Storkules to go against his primal urges to be a adorable little kitten, and turns him into a rage monster to attack the ducks. So while Webby and Dewey are still having at it, Storkules is putting the rest of the family in danger, because they can't match such a toppling giant. And when Donald hears that his nephews are in danger, he comes rushing into action. And just as they're about to get cornered, here comes the Donald, and the fight of the century! Storkules versus an angry Donald. Well, we cut back to Webby, who has soundly defeated Dewey, and she asks why. Why doesn't he want to know? This is everything that they've been working for. And then Dewey reveals because he doesn't want to know whether or not his mother was a bad person. Because if she was a bad person, then he would forever be tarnished with the knowledge that his mom did horrible crimes. And that is a fate worse than not knowing who she was at all. I can understand that, and so does Webby. Webby says that this is just one mystery that they can not solve if they truly don't. But then it's actually Dewey who decides for them, and they manage to get into the door right in the nick of time. So they find the room of Selene, and to make sense of it, they discover the goddess Selene herself! Surprised faces all around. Not that it should be, this is Selene's room. So she begins talking to him, and they say that they're looking for her spear. But Selene says that she's never had a spear. She's got a sword, she's got a sphere, but she's never had a spear. So this whole trip was for nothing. And Dewey is still left in the dark. But the moon goddess then gives Dewey a sphere, or a sphere, god. Sphere, it's unclear. Well, she gives him a spear,
Motherfucker!
Shut up! Oh, come on, this is like a tongue twister.
Okay, I'll take over. She gives him the sphere of Selene, which shows images of Della Duck, as well as the rest of the gods together. They were happily friends, and Della was one hell of a firecracker. And she was Selene's best friend. So after realizing that his mother wasn't a bad person, they all hug it out. We then cut back to Donald, who is currently still in the midst of fighting Storkules. But they realize that the only way this will end is if they get the sheep's wolf from the siren. Weirdly enough, Louis seems to be immune to the siren's effects somehow, and offers a deal with the siren, which she promptly gives up, singing as well as the wool, and Storkules is set free. And thus, the Ducks win! Against the better likings of that piece of shit god.
That's actually a pretty good description. Zeus in this series is less divine and more of a spoiled child, who got his toys taken away and he's not the best center of attention to the alpha that is Scrooge. But Scrooge does try to grant an olive branch and say that they should just put their petty squabbles aside because obviously their kids are besties. But Zeus refuses. And so they agree to one more game. Scrooge versus Zeus. In a game of... Actually, I don't know what this game is off the top of my head. But whatever it is, Scrooge forfeits by just dropping the ball. And in his fake bravado, Zeus drops the barrier. Because once and for all, he's proven he's better than Scrooge. Storkules gives Donald some advice that even though he might think he's done with adventures, adventures aren't necessarily done with him. And Donald says, yeah, okay, we can be buddies, which makes Storkules so happy. Dewey and Webby rejoin the rest of them, and they doesn't even question where they've been. And so it all ends with Dewey accidentally dropping the sphere of Selene, which apparently is enough to win the game that Zeus and them were playing, which sends Zeus into a tirade, forcing the ducks to run, and oh yeah, Launchpad was in this episode. And he destroyed their plane. Well, they're all getting smited. And that was the Spear of Selene. And honestly, I was looking forward to this episode. Not just with any revelations that we have on Della Duck, but overall the premise. The idea that the McDuck family just happens to be pals with the gods of Olympus, just really, it just seems like a really good lore building of the McDuck world. On top of that, Storkules is such an adorable little muffin top that I kind of want him to have his own spin-off. His relationship to Donald might seem very much shippy, and the fact that he's Greek really does amplify that, but still, it just feels like such a genuinely adorable friendship. Even though we didn't really learn anything new or groundbreaking on Della Duck this episode, it was still enjoyable to watch them at least attempt to address where Della was, as well as the mysteries of the Spear of Selene. If Selene never had a spear, then what the heck is the Spear of Selene? Still leaving questions unanswered. But they know that the God's route is not the right route. It's also fun watching Zeus be a petulant party boy Chad who got dethroned by an old man who's so much better than him in every way. Watching him just act like a complete child over it. Over just a past grudge. It's all just an adorable episode. Really good, really fun, really heartwarming, and for better or worse, the gods of Olympus are a welcomed addition to Ducktales 2017. So with that being said, we're the Cartoon Gentlemen. The organizers of chaos, see you next time.
Say spear.
Shut up!
Come on, guys, I'm sure the location of the flaming sword is somewhere in these old books. Can someone explain to me why we're going so hard on trying to find this flaming sword if it's lost anyway?
Well, one thing, flaming swords are cool, and why wouldn't you want to add another one to our arsenal?
Okay, you got me there. Okay, so let's set things up in what?
Huh? Who is...
Hello, gents!
To stand out
Among the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud, till mine is the only face that you see. Gonna stand out
till you notice me.